what drew you to the story of the Edmund Fitzgerald and made you decide you wanted to write this book?
What drew me to it is not what happened. I'm certainly interested in that. We have several chapters on that. We obviously diminish certain theories and promote other theories that seem more likely based on new research.
Mhm.
But what drew me to it was very clear. The 29 men. It's a number we have from the song. The church bell rang 29 times, but we don't know almost anything about them. And I wanted to find out who these guys were, what their lives were like, who they were individually, what their families are like, what their family lives are like, what's it like to be on the ship, what's it like to be on shore. And I didn't know really anything about this stuff, and now I know a great deal, of course. And that to me is the heart of the story. That is the untold part.
Yeah, I think it was interesting reading it. On top of the 29 men, you also kind of focused on some other people. And one character I think in particular that kind of bookends the book in a sense is Aunt Ruth. Can you just kind of tell me a little bit about her?
And Ruth apparently was, I never met her. She passed away in 2015, one day before the 40th anniversary, by intent. She was going to join her son, Bruce Hudson, her only child. She said that he's been alone too long. So she's 4'9", but everyone thought she was 5'5". She's a power pack. Not formally educated, but so well read, you didn't know. She worked at the Bonnie Bell Cosmetic Factory near Cleveland, and Bruce Hudson was her only child. So when Bruce's ship went down, of course, the Edmund Fitzgerald, she thought she'd lost everything. And then she finds out that Bruce had gotten his girlfriend pregnant in Toledo, and he found that out in September. And he assured Cindy, his girlfriend, we'll move in together, we'll raise the child together, all will be well. So six or 7 months later, Ruth Hudson thinks she's lost everything, finds out she's about to get a grandchild, a granddaughter in this case, Heather. And then Heather, so she dotes all over Heather, of course. Then Heather has her own children, and her oldest, Austin, oldest of four, looks just like Bruce Hudson.
Mhm.
So Ruth Hudson has lost everything. And then she gains a granddaughter, and then she gains a great grandson who looks just like her son. So I'm not saying that makes up for it, but the world works in funny ways, obviously. And she was also the driving force between having the ship site declared a grave site by the Canadian government. It's in Canadian water, which took a lot of time, effort, phone calls, letters, and so on. No internet back then, no cell phones, no email. And she also was central in getting the bell brought up from the ship, which now is in the Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum in Whitefish Point, beautifully restored. So she's really quite a force of nature. And one of her lines I thought was one of the best lines that I came across. When she asked, what happened? She says, 30 no, 29 men and God, and no one's talking. And that's kind of my conclusion about the whole thing, too.
In the title, it says that this is kind of the untold Fitzgerald or the untold story of the Fitzgerald. Can you tell me kind of what new perspective the book brings?
Sure, I can tell you this, that despite being an Ann Arbor native, and I spent my summers on Lake Michigan, and I've been in all the lakes at some point or other. I've sailed the Port Huron to Mackinac Race. I thought I knew these lakes quite well. I didn't know anything. And you don't find that out till you dig in. I asked my wife, the football and hockey books behind me took me about a year each. And why did this take me 4 years? And she said, oh, that's easy. You didn't know anything. I think that most of us, frankly, don't, unless you're on one of these ships. I didn't know how big the Great Lakes really were. They're as big as New England plus the state of New York. That's how big they are. I didn't know that the Great Lakes are actually more dangerous than the ocean. And I got that from commercial sailors who've sailed for years on both. And they say it's not even close. That was news to me for a lot of reasons. But the truly untold part to me is the families I talked to. I've got about, of the 29 men, 14 are profiled to some degree or other, and 8 or 9 in great depth. From the family members themselves. These are the sons and the wives and the daughters, truly the girlfriends, the cousins, the nephews and nieces, who remember them all quite well, what their lives were like. And also, I got to 6 crewmen who'd been on the ship, served on the ship at some point between 1963 and that summer,
Mhm.
1975. These guys were not always easy to get a hold of. Some were reluctant to talk at first, but all ultimately did. There might not be any more than 6 out there in the world. And got to all those guys, and even got to Rick Barthuli, probably the only guy still alive, who was on the Arthur Anderson that night, chasing the Emma Fitzgerald, communicating back and forth with that ship. So Rick's testimony for me is gold because that's as close as we can get to find out what it was like for the guys in the Fitzgerald that night.
Yeah.
And Rick was just fantastic. There's Craig Elquist you're talking about. He had been on the ship November, December, January of 74, 75. From him, I learned how many of the guys on the ship were going to retire either that year or the next year. Then they went on for one more year, including Captain McSorley. The other guy is Patrick Devine, a judge's son out of Toledo who dropped out of Marquette University to hop on a ship, kind of a romantic fantasy. And he was on the Fitzgerald that summer, July, August, September, and then got bumped off by Bruce Hudson,
Oh yeah, that's right.
Hudson's son, because his back had recuperated. He had a union contract, so therefore he gets his job back as a deckhand. And Devine was not happy about that at first.
Mhm.
But then, of course, it took 10 years to get over the trauma of survivor's guilt. This is a real thing. I never joke about it.
Yeah. You kind of talked about how you didn't really know anything about this, and I learned so much about the Great Lakes too, just with the waves and the wave strength and how it increases. But also, you had mentioned you spent time on some ships, right, including the Arthur Anderson. What was that? What was that like?
Uh, Max, I got a lot of lucky breaks in this research process. One, finding the family members. Two, finding these crew members. Three, the bass player and the drummer for the Gordon Lightfoot Band are still alive, and recall the recording session 50 years earlier, and they were great. Jim Gaines, who wrote the Newsweek article, and Harry Atkins, based in Detroit, for the Associated Press, he wrote the first article. They're both still alive, and I got to both of them, and they're great. Then I also got on the Arthur Anderson, the second most important ship in this story, last summer. We ran from Duluth to Toledo, which is exactly the route that Edmund Fitzgerald often took. I also got on the Wilfred Sykes, which is also on the lake that night, part of this trio, basically. I rode them from Marquette to Zug Island. Zug Island was where the Fitzgerald was going on this particular trip to unload and then go to Toledo for the winter. And David Marinus, a good friend of mine who has won two Pulitzer Prizes, more than I have, he always says you have to walk the land. In this case, you have to get on board. And I can't tell you exactly what changed from those two trips, but I wrote with so much more intimacy and confidence and detail, I think,
Mhm.
by being on those ships, which are very much like they were 50 years ago, down to the food. The food is first rate, and I gained 5 pounds on both trips. So, and the crew was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
Hardworking guys you've never met because they're on ships, they're not home.
You also went to a lot of the shipping towns, small towns, towns surrounded by the industry. How did the communities react, when you were there? You were in the same bars that those people, the sailors were in.
Well, more luck at the Silver Bay Municipal Bar in Silver Bay, Minnesota, which is where the Fitz normally docked and loaded. Taconite was what they load, is iron ore pellets. And since we're on TV, they look like that right there. That's a taconite pellet. Uh, I walked up the street, as they say, up to the bar, and Tom Burns, the bartender that night, is still the bartender. So it's a sweet little bar. It reminds me of like an up north Michigan bar, basically, with wood paneling, a lot of sunlight. Yes, I went to about probably half dozen bars, all for good, hard-hitting investigative research, of course, Max. But the Silver Bay Bar, the President's Lounge in Superior, Wisconsin, is where the crew had their last beers the night before. That bartender, Mr. Brolin, is still alive, and he talked to me as well. And the bars in Sault Ste. Marie, the bars in, I talked about the bars in Zug Island, they're gone now, but
Yeah.
those stories are amazing. And of course, Tony Paco's in Toledo, the Mancy's Steakhouse in Toledo, still around. That was Captain McSorley's favorite spot. He was going to retire after this last run, 3 days later, and have dinner at Mancy's, like always, and then celebrate with his wife. And of course, that didn't happen.
Mhm.
But I got to all these places, and most of them are still around.
What do you think was the most surprising thing? This might be a tough question that came out of your research in the 4 years you spent.
Boy, that's I could fill a book with that one right there, of course. But the short answer is probably that the Great Lakes are actually more dangerous than the ocean. And I've been in these lakes, like I said, and I really had no sense of that. And it's for a couple of reasons. One, salt water spreads out, softens the waves instead of being pointy and sharp like a mountain range, like the Great Lakes. They're smoothed out, and they're spread out also. It's like a big roller coaster. Not very pleasant, perhaps, but not unsafe, usually. It all can be dangerous, of course. But the Great Lakes, they're sharp and pointy. There's no salt water to mash them down. They're a lot closer together. Instead of 10 to 16 seconds apart, as they are in the Atlantic, they're 4 to 8 seconds apart. Why does that matter? Because a ship as big as the Fitzgerald can have its bow in one pointy wave, 30 feet high, have its stern in another 30-foot wave, very pointy, and nothing in the middle. That creates sagging, and with 26,000 tons of taconite, that's the equivalent of 4,000 adult elephants, it can crack in the middle. It's happened to other ships. Some thought it happened on this ship. I don't think it did, as I make clear. But it's unbelievably dangerous. And also, a captain of the Great Lakes has got a much tougher job than a captain of the ocean. A captain leaves New York and points the ship towards Portugal and puts it on autopilot for a week. And then you run past no islands, no ships, no nothing. And you get there. And when you get there, a harbor pilot and a tugboat take over your ship. You can go get a cigarette or read a book and no one cares. You don't really do anything. The Great Lakes captains, all right, they run the ship from dock to dock. And therefore, they've got to know 4 or 5 dozen ports. They've got to know the breakwaters, the depths, the currents, the canals, the rivers, you name it. Only 2/3 of their trip is open water. 1/3 is traffic, including other ships. They had 300 ships on the Great Lakes. They had a traffic jam in Detroit on a regular basis trying to get through the Detroit River. So it's much more complicated, much more dangerous. And as one of the guys told me, Rick Barthuli, he said, and all this has got to be in your head. You're coming in port at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you have to know the breakwaters, the currents, and all that stuff. There's no going back to your books. If you get it wrong, your ship sinks. So the Great Lakes, it turns out, earn the respect of the salties, the guys who sail on the ocean-going ships. And everyone said the same thing. Those guys always laughed at us until they saw their first storm. Then they shut up pretty fast and looked for a safe port. It's not even close. That was news to me.
This is probably kind of another loaded question, hard to answer, but what do you think is one of the most memorable things that a family member had told you that's kind of stayed with you throughout this whole project?
Oh, boy, again, that's a good chunk of the book, naturally. The Ruth Hudson story we've already talked about. Bruce Hudson uh, dying on the ship, of course, and then his daughter is born 6, 7 months later. Um, that makes my list, and how Ruth Hudson becomes so close to Heather, and they become shopping buddies and so on.
Yeah.
The story of Eddie Binden. He's the first assistant engineer, high-ranking guy. He's 47 years old. Patrick Devine had worked with him on 2 ships and told me what a great guy he was, knew his stuff. These guys tended to be not formally educated, but they taught themselves engineering, meteorology, metallurgy, and so on to pass these very rigorous tests, self-educated. At age 47 years old, he'd been married 25 years. He'd put in enough time on the Great Lakes. He could have retired, and he was talking about it already. And their last weekend in Superior, Wisconsin, right next to Duluth, he must have taken a cab, I guess, to Duluth, went to a jewelry store there, bought a beautiful diamond ring, 25th anniversary for his lovely wife, and gave it to a friend to give to her later that week. And we have no idea why he did that. He's going to be on the ship himself. He's going to land in Toledo. They live in Ohio, not too far away. She's going to be waiting for him on the dock. But for some reason, he gave this ring to one of his friends to mail to his wife. And therefore, it did not go down with the ship. And about a week later, after she's clearly in mourning, traumatized by what had happened, in the mail she gets a beautiful diamond ring for their 25th anniversary. And she wore that the rest of her life and never remarried.
Yeah. Yeah, another one of the stories that stuck out to me. And then also just like Bruce, the planned road trip with Bruce Hudson at the end, kind of his last hurrah before his now daughter came. Just the Dodge Challenger too. I can just picture like the Dodge Challenger at the dock.
For your viewers, Bruce Hudson was very good about making money, saving money. These guys got paid very well. They got 3 or 4 times, even a deckhand, what a teacher made at that time. So the incentive to go back to college was not overwhelming at that point. But his one indulgence was a muscle car, a Dodge Challenger, beautiful burgundy Dodge Challenger. We found the car, as you know. It still has a Columbia uh, shipping sticker
Mhm.
in the back passenger window. That's how proud he was of the Fitzgerald. And he and a buddy, Mark Thomas, fellow deckhand from the Cleveland area, when they finished this trip in 2 or 3 days, that car was waiting for them on the dock. They're going to hop in that car and do what guys in the 70s did, bomb across to Colorado, get some Coors beer, which back then was exotic, go to LA and come on back like a month-long trip. And even after he knew his girlfriend was pregnant, she said, "Go on your trip because the baby's not due until June. This is your last hurrah. Go get it." And that's when he thought he had met the right lady.
Yeah.
Uh, these are heartbreaking stories. The more you get to know these people, and you know how close they were to being saved on this trip, how how they almost narrowly escaped the
Mhm.
worst of it, the more heartbreaking it really becomes.
Yeah. We're coming up on the 50th anniversary. Why do you think the story still resonates with people 50 years later?
Well, first of all, it's the song. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
Without the song, there is no book. And Gordon Lightfoot did such a good job in that song. It still is on that radio. You still hear it, and it still resonates. So the song, for sure. And think about this: there's 6,000 between 1875 and 1975, 100 years. There are more than 6,000 commercial shipwrecks on the Great Lakes, and most of us only know one, and it's Edmund Fitzgerald. It's probably the second most famous shipwreck in the world behind the Titanic, maybe a distant second, but still,
Mhm.
it's the song. That's one thing. Two, it's also the fact that from 1975 to the present, since this ship went down, it was so alarming and such a wake up call that the greatest ship in the Great Lakes had gone down that, as one of my experts said, when do you fix anything? When it's broken. So they fixed the forecasting, they fixed the communications with the captain. They also gained common sense. You don't go out in a storm like that, period, which
Mhm.
back then they did all the time. There's not been one commercial shipwreck since then. This is sad to say, it's not like a school shooting, which tragically happened all too often, of course. There's not been one since. So this is still the last one. That's part of the, I think, uh, attraction to this
Mhm.
story, I think. And also it's the mystery. I come closer, I think, to weighing on some theories versus others, but it can't be solved, not without witnesses. And that mystery, I think, is also part of what draws people to it.
What do you want people to kind of take away from this book?
Every job is more complicated than you think. Everyone's job is harder than you think. One, that we depend on Great Lakes shipping in ways that I had not fathomed. The cement in your basement, the steel in your car, the food in your table, man, it all comes from these ships. And I don't care if you live in Michigan or Iowa or Texas. That's where your stuff comes from.
Mhm.
From these guys. We owe them they're unsung heroes before anything happens, truly. Also, who these men were. Real lives, real families. And look, even 50 years later, like Heidi Brabun, become a friend of mine in this process, daughter of Blaine Wilhelm, one of the oilers in the ship. Uh, you know what? It's 50 years, and she still lost her dad when she was 12.
Mhm.
You never get over that. So these are real life stories. We owe these men and their families a great debt. Um, and and shipping itself is more important than we think. I want them to understand that.
Yeah.
I'll add this that if you think you know this story, trust me, I thought I knew the story. 95% of the book will probably be new to you,
Yep.
as it was to me.